So everything inside of you is saying you can't manifest it. You're broken, you're blocked. But people who are consistently good at manifesting miracles, the people who are consistently seeing their scale go up and up and up, aren't people who went into manifesting thinking, I'm going to be great at this. No. In fact, if you want to start where you are right now and are too scared to do it, you don't have the confidence, you think people have to be more educated, they have to be smarter, they don't have young children, they don't have they have a supportive spouse, they have a supportive family. No, the people who are the masters at manifesting, the ones who are consistently on the up trajectory every single time, have one thing in common, and they do this over and over and over and over again. And now this is the episode that you're going to do this too, because I'm going to teach you, I'm going to show you. I even wrote little notes here on my dry erase board so you and I can have a real conversation about how to master this life. You didn't come here from wherever you are. You're not a tree. Look at your feet. Do you have roots? No, you're not from this planet. You weren't rooted here. You were rooted through the portal, and you came into this life to create something. And the people who came here, the people who are too scared, they're too weak, they're too fearful, are the same people that took this step. You can't do it when you're ready. You can't do it when you have the money. You can't do it when you think you have it all figured out. When in life have you planned anything and it went exactly to plan? Never. Because once you make that step forward, the momentum, the energy, the quantum entanglement in which the idea was predicated on lives within the ether, the ethos of you right now. So what did these people do? They did it scared. They did it without a plan. They did it without a safety net. They did it without a budget. They did it without support. And you are over here ruminating over and over and over again. Well, let me just get a little bit more research. Let me do this. Let me do that. Why? Because your brain is absolutely trained to the story that you know best. It's perhaps the best story you've ever heard because it's yours, and you get to stay in your limitation bubble because your brain is hooked and convinced that the old story is the truth. But I'm here to explain to you exactly why you have got to come here. You came here to be free of that and to manifest. And it's not as easy as just, writing some affirmations on the board, because it's your internal dialogue that's projecting into your reality. The hologram of you is a distorted view because you've only listened to the old version. You've never spoken to the future version of you because it doesn't feel safe to be loved. It doesn't feel safe to call in money. It doesn't feel safe to have friends who really care about you. It doesn't feel safe to trust that if you spend this money today, it's back on its way recycling towards you. And why doesn't it feel safe? It doesn't feel safe because it's important. It's important for us to understand what our brain is listening to. Our brain is repeating the same patterns. It's called the Reticular Activation System. You're not broken and you don't need to be fixed. And that's the one thing I need you to hear today. You are not broken and you don't need to be fixed. But what you are is somebody who has not listened to the version of you who has tried the other side. And why is that? Well, in your brain, you have mounted evidence of all of the reasons that you will not succeed. You have completely been loyal to that version of you. Maybe it was told to you by your family. Maybe it was all of the things that you've endured so far. Maybe it's all the suffering. Maybe it's all of the noise. Maybe it's everything. But right now, that person is in charge of your life, not you. That person is the one that's making all the decisions. That's the person who's driving the ship. So what do we have to tell our brain? We have to tell our brain a new story, and it starts right here, right now. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to start to understand, and I'm looking at my notes to make sure I go in order because of the way my brain is. It wants to hop around over here and hop around over here, all right? So we want to start by retraining the brain because repetition equals confidence. And the reason that you're not taking those actions is because you are completely confident that it won't work. You're not confident that you are the creator of your reality. And you're like, well, if I was the creator of my reality, Michelle, why would I have all of this suffering? So you could have the courage to be where you are right now. You didn't get this far just to come this far. You got this far so you would understand that you can overcome big fucking things. And so you start by taking one bite at a time. You can't just say, tomorrow I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go start this thing or that thing and feel confident about it. Your brain will say, okay, that was a fever dream. But if you say to yourself, okay, you know what? Everything that I've ever experienced makes me a phenomenal person to give this, to do this, to write this book, to have a blog, to create a podcast, to create a business, to help other people, to maybe to go back to school. I don't know. But the version of you that you haven't lived is listening and is in the room right now and is having you understand that one bite at a time, one step at a time, you are going to change everything about your reality. When I started this podcast, okay, I've now won, I can't tell you how many awards, award after award after award, top 20, top 10, top 5. I'm at nearly 1 million downloads. And I had never listened to a podcast in my entire life. I didn't know anything about it. This microphone is the same microphone I bought 3 or 5 years ago this October when I started it, or maybe 6 years this October when I started it on my birthday. All right. And this laptop that the microphone is plugged into, and this is a new camera, but that's why it looks so crisp and clean. But everything is 6 years old, battle tested, but also used. This is a used laptop. I bought this microphone used, and I never had listened to a podcast. But you know what I had? A lifetime of disappointments. A lifetime of people using me, abusing me, looking right through me, wanting to experience me, but never really committing to me. And so have you. Every story that should have had the fairy tale ending brought you to this day. Every time it didn't work out brought you to this day. Every situation that was supposed to make you crash and burn brought you to this day. And so now that version of you, that story of you is played out. It's time for new side quests. It's time for you to realize that you did not incarnate into this portal through the vaginal canal into this reality to be subjugated to the illusion that you cannot do it. But your brain isn't the problem. It's just the tool. It's how you feel in your nervous system that is stopping you from taking that chance. And I'm here to tell you that 1 million downloads later, and here's the biggest one. I'm not going to even talk about how much money I've made, how many speeches I've been paid to do. I'm not going to talk about that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When I did this as a labor of love. I never expected this to be what it became. And that's the whole point. It happened, and then everything else in the wake of that momentum started to happen. Why? Fear is a portal. But once you take action, once you have an emotion to move, that motion becomes the field in which the thing can manifest into. But right now, You're stuck in the illusion of the story that you've rehearsed and told and practiced. Oh, my divorce, my child, my home, my parents, my dog, my cat, my bird, my life, my abuse, my patterns. Those were all portals. And so now we're going to take that information, my love, and we're going to build off of it with confidence, one little bite at a time. So let's say that your dream is to be a travel expert or a travel blogger. And you're like, that's a fantasy. Nobody gets paid for that. You're right. Nobody gets paid for that because you are that nobody until you make yourself that somebody. So you start small. Go to a what is it called? Staycation. Reach out and look for friends who have hotel points. There's always solutions when you're spiritually led. And when I mean spiritually, I mean that you are connected to and are God. You are not separate from God, and therefore you are God. And so therefore, you have the ability to take this story that sounds like, oh, this is the end of the line for me, and with little momentum action, start to get that energy in motion, EMO. And then the quantum field starts to shift. And then with repetition every single day, I love to tap. I love to look in the mirror. But I'm going to tell you a few steps in a minute. So start where you are. Start with the baby steps, okay? So the first thing you're going to decide is I'm a travel blogger and I get paid from who? The travel industry. You know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, all right? I'm just picking something, all right? And then you start doing a blog and you do a little video. You start talking to people and you start getting some traction and you start getting information. You start getting motivation. You start getting hope. And then the next thing that happens, somebody offers you $50 to cover their restaurant or to cover their hotel or to go to their new adventure park or whatever they're going to open up in your area. And all of a sudden, there it is. It's happening. You're happening. The life that you thought was so far removed from the quantum field in which you are operating in is happening. Okay? You are amazing. You are actually building confidence every time you do it. But if you don't do it, you'll never know how far it could have gone. And so we start with baby steps. We're going to write for 10 minutes every day for the next 20 days. Write about where all the places you're going to go to and all the places you want to go to and start local. And then you build that confidence by repeating it every single day. And yes, there are a lot of other steps in between. But when I picked up this microphone, the one thing when I picked up this microphone, the one thing that I never expected were the 14 people to date who decided to stay on the planet because I decided to use all the pain and suffering that I had had, all the education that I had had, and all the lack of confidence that I had to pick up this mic, plug it into this used computer, and start talking. 14 families have those loved ones because one little soul decided to do one little thing. Now you might say, but I don't have that, Michelle. Yes, you do. Everything you've endured was a gateway towards the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Everything that you have ever experienced was the education. It was the financing. You lost money in it. You paid for it. Emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, whatever it is. And so every day you're going to take a little journal and start writing down what you did. I spent 3 minutes visualizing blah, blah, blah. The next day. I wrote for 3 minutes all the places that I'm going to travel. The next day. Okay, so today I did nothing, but I'm writing it down anyway. And the more evidence that you keep and the more that you repeat it, the more that the reticular activation system in your brain starts to create new neurons. And that neurons and that neural plasticity starts to replace all of the old story. You know why you love your favorite superhero or your favorite celebrity? Like they came from the bottom, now they're here. Because in your mind, you think, I love her because she's authentic. It's you that you love. And you're putting it on the celebrity. You're putting it on the other person. What you admire about them is what you don't see in yourself. And all of those stories are true, but it's time for you to write one about you. So I want you to manifest the biggest and the most beautiful version of yourself. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean that it's going to be lock in sync and everything's just going to seem to work out. Do you know how many times I've crashed and burned since I started this fucking podcast? Do you know how many times that I've thought I'm going to put the microphone down and go back to my job and keep things easy? You know how many times I wanted to give up on me? You know how many times I tried? But because I kept telling myself, one more day, just do it for 5 more minutes, just record one more podcast, just go on one more interview, just write one more blog. It became the next day and the next day and the next day. And now here I am with more awards than I know how to name, more opportunities on the way. My one-on-one coaching clients, their lives are absolutely changed. Everybody who works with me, lives change. You know why? Because I understand the struggle. Because I understand what it takes to drag your fucking ass out of bed, tired, disillusioned, not financed, not supported. I don't have one single family member in my entire family supporting me. Well, my niece Haley does. And my sister-in-law Melissa and my former sister-in-law Cheryl does a good job of it. But never on a daily basis or even a weekly or a monthly basis. But I know they love me. I know my dogs love me. And I know my audience loves me. And I know I change the lives of everybody who signs up and works with me. But what do you know? You have so much knowledge and you have so much history and you have so much courage to come to this planet and live in this timeline. Why would you waste it not giving your other self a chance? You've already become so accustomed to the version of you that failed at these things and these things didn't work out. And you've built yourself probably a little bubble existence. And yeah, it's safe to stay there because nobody will see you. Nobody will know about your flaws or your mistakes. Nothing gets disappointed. And yet, you're not living. You're not experiencing life. You're living in a Groundhog's Day built for somebody who isn't you. That's why it sucks. That's why it feels like misery. Because manifesting requires calm, faith, stability, strength, not wishing, not forcing, but alignment. And you did not come here to be a miracle. This podcast is called Manifesting Miracles because I want to teach you, and I believe that you came here because you are a miracle. As somebody who has had 5 IVF babies, not one lived. A C-section scar and nothing to hold. Who did all the shots and all the pain and all the money. I'm here to tell you that your 1 in 4 trillion chance of becoming a human means that you already are the miracle that you're seeking. This podcast is called Manifesting Miracles because I teach you how to get out of the fear and into the faith of you. You have been so loyal that you haven't built any confidence in this future version. So of course you think it's going to fail. So of course you think it's not going to work out. Of course it sounds hard. Of course it sounds expensive. Of course. Because that's what you're focusing on. So I want you to start for just the next 30 days and for 3 minutes a day, do something in this genre, something towards what you believe, whether it's painting. I don't mean for you to paint to be rich like this. I mean for you to paint to be rich like this. And I want you to have a heart full of energy that says, I did it. Want to know how many paintings Van Gogh sold before he died? Would you like to take a guess? Well, he sold 3. That's why he cut off his ear. Okay? 1 was to his landlord because he couldn't pay rent. 1 was to his brother. And 1 was somebody who actually bought it. And so all of these Van Goghs that are everywhere and they're worth multi-million dollars and they're in museums were literally fucking worthless when he painted them. But the beauty that they invoked, the emotion that they invoked, the expression of Van Gogh to the canvas was everlasting. You may not see the end result of what you have created materialize into something famous or important or wealthy, but you won't be on your toe tag day. You won't be on your deathbed. You won't be in the last stages of this life saying to yourself, I wish I had tried. You will be in that room saying, you know what? At least my nieces and my nephews or my children or the people will enjoy the art that I created. Because the biggest version of you doesn't need an accountant to decide what is worth something and what is not. Somebody can see a child and they'll see worthless. And somebody can see a child and see the entire universe. You may be one person in this world, but to one person, you may be the entire world. Dr. Seuss. And so if I'm going to tell you anything, is that yes, it is easier to stay in the protected bubble that you're in. But the version of you that is living, not surviving, but thriving, is in the same body, waiting for you to wake up, waiting for you to see the path forward. Everything that you fear in quantum energy is a portal. You haven't mastered that. You've avoided it. That was too expensive. That was too hard. Perfect. I'm going to avoid that. But you didn't come here to avoid the hard things. You came here in spite of them. And so action comes from safety. Once you take action, your nervous system starts to feel safe. And that's why when opportunities come in, all of a sudden you can hold that opportunity for just a minute and you can let it ride. You can let it ride. All right. I'm getting in the flow. And then what? Tiny changes equals trust. So every day when you're journaling or you're going out and taking pictures or you're buying a little paintbrush or you're going to the museum and looking at the artists or you're listening to this podcast and thinking I should start my own, and I'm going to say you should. Those tiny changes are emotions, and that emotion is proof. And that proof equals that your brain starts to believe in the version of you that can do anything, have anything, and be anything. You know, I have 2 dogs, and one of them is named Juanita Lamont. because Dr. Wayne Dyer changed my life. And the other one is named Dolly Parton. Not because I'm a country music fan, although I love all music. It's because Dolly said, what the hell, I can be anything. In fact, one of my favorite quotes, and she has so many good ones, is, why would I limit the ways that I can create because you can't see the full picture? And so what can't Dolly do? And so I wanted to name my abused dog that I rescued Dolly Parton Lamont. And so when people meet her, they instantly love her. They're like, oh, hi, Dolly Parton. People like, who's Wayne? Wayne what? And so I say this to tell you that, like Dolly Parton, she's a singer, an actress, an activist, a fashionista, amusement park holder, a book club person, an author, a speaker, an entertainer, a talent, okay? And when Dolly Parton started out, there was no roads that said you're going to do it this way or you're going to do it that way. There was no books. The only way to do it is your way. Sink or swim, it's better than what you're doing right now. And even if you think I'm not going to be successful at it, isn't it a way forward for you to be an expression of yourself that is keeping you trapped and limited? Haven't you grinded long enough? Haven't you suffered long enough? Haven't you sustained this reality long enough? Isn't it time to give the other side a chance? And if you don't know where to start with me. I have a community called Manifesting Miracles Academy. And every month, not only are we a supportive community and we know each other's goals and we're clapping and cheering for each other, there are so many resources. And every month, there's an audio class for your nervous system. So every single month it changes, but it's specifically designed for your nervous system. So you can keep up with yourself, so you can journal, so you can have that. And you weren't meant to do this alone. You need community. And so we have a full moon workshop and an actual manifesting workshop every single month on a variety of different topics. But I know you, and I know what you want. So why don't you book a one-on-one with me? The people who coach with me, their lives change forever. That intimacy, that one-on-one, it allows you to take more action than you would have before. But joining the community gives you the first step forward. And I want to make it as easy as possible. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it absolutely free for the first month. That's how confident I am in what I've built. And even in this podcast, right now you could be listening to me and I don't live on the planet. My toe tag day came and left. And yet, something that I did out of sheer desire, love, I love you. You are worthy of this love. I see you. I see you at the drive-thru wishing you weren't working there. I see you at the library. I see you at the park. I see you on the walks. I see you in my community. You are worthy of the attention. And everything that you've endured so far was the precursor to what's coming next. So, yeah, you could stay in the reality that you're in right now, and it does sound hard. But little by little and inch by inch and keeping track of your successes is going to lead you right into the reality in which you have yet to experience. You have no idea until you try. All you know right now is what hasn't worked. How you've been let down. How you've been abused. How you've been hurt. How you've been disillusioned. How you were never heard, how you weren't seen. People assume things. People judge. But fuck them. Not because they don't count, but because their motivation for you to learn how powerful you are. I had no idea what would happen when I turned this microphone on. But what has happened is I live an incredible life. Not because of the money or the accolades or the awards, but I'm honest. And I'm free. And I'm in love with Michelle Juanita Lamont. And that's something that I've never been able to say. But it was one step at a time. And I went from the orphanage to interviewing Oprah to now here talking with you. You are so beautiful. You're so worthy. And I am so ready to help you. I want to see what it takes to get you from the comfort into the confidence, into the spotlight. So whatever it is that you think you're not capable of doing, I'm the person to help you figure it out. We'll create a morning routine. We'll create confidence courses. We'll reset your energy. I'll teach you how to align with your quantum frequency. And I'm going to create neuroplasticity affirmations for you, shadow work questions, and homework in my coaching programs. I have 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 years, 10 weeks, even a month, even a year program. And if you live in Florida, I have an in-person program. But at least start something right now. 30 days. Come into my community for 30 days. We have so many meditations, so many resources, so many classes that are already recorded, courses that you can take absolutely free to find the footing in which you'll feel confident standing in. It doesn't happen overnight, and you didn't get here by it happening overnight. But slowly and surely, you will build something that maybe 14 people, 14 lives are still on this planet because you got off the couch, you got off the fear, you got off the treadmill of indecision, and you took one step forward today. I am so proud of you. The future version of you that knows that they can rewrite this story from no matter where they came is cheering you on. We all came here to experience the hardship and the freedom that it brings. You're just stuck in the story. And so you're so committed to the novel. It's time to close that book and pick up the paper and write a new one. And if there's ever been anybody on the planet who has been skilled at this particular thing, it's yours truly. But now I'm going to build that and give that with you. And you are then going to give it to somebody else. Because for everybody who beat me, everybody who SA'd me, everybody who abandoned me, everybody who forgot about me, everybody who criticizes me and makes fun of me, everybody who says you're crazy for doing that, doesn't get to live this exciting, disappointing, revolutionary life. They're in their very boring little bubble, living their very pure, curated, very safe existence. And that's not what you came here for. And so I want you to use all that moxie and all of that intuition and all that power and feel what you are. Who do you think you are? A superstar? Well, right, you are, okay? And it's not about being motivated. It's about taking the first step. What did the great Dr. Martin Luther King say? You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. Take it with me. Every Tuesday, I do a free 10-minute call to see what you should be doing. What program might work for you in my community? What digital class? And if all of that sounds too much, I have a 7-day free course that you can take. Start somewhere. And I want to invite you that your next step is with me. It always has been. That's why you're drawn to this. You see, we've known each other in other lives. And so if you got off track and I got on track, I was going to motivate you. And if I got off track and you were on track, you would have been the one directing me. I love you. I am so fucking proud of you. Fuck, you made it. That's something, man. And now I want to encourage you to take that little bitty nugget of something and watch it go up and up and up and up. All right, my friends, my loves, my family. If I'm not on the planet, I just want you to know it was so wonderful creating this podcast for you, creating this vibration with you. And if I am on the planet, then you should sign up to work with me, baby. When I met Dr. Wayne Dyer, he was already dead. But it was all of his classes and courses and books that changed my life. You don't know what you have in you that will do that. And don't think of the money. Think of the excitement and the adventure. And step by step and inch by inch, it will create itself. So stop ruminating and looping out and crashing out and just take one little step today by joining my Manifesting Miracles Academy. It's free for the first 30 days. After that, it's on you to decide what you're worthy. And it's only $20 a month anyway. All right, you guys, my name is Michelle Juanita Lamont. And if this is your first time listening to Manifesting Miracles, we close the same way every time since day one. We say, everything is always working out for me 3 times. Everything is always working out for us 3 times. And then I tell the producers to cue the music. So let's get into it. And in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Us again. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything. Yes, my love. Yes. I want you to do it. I want you to join my community, Manifesting Miracles Academy. I want you to see yourself moving forward, and I want you to take one small step. We've gone over so many things, but confidence starts where fear ends. You got this, and I got you. All right, producers, it's time to cue that motherfucking music. I love you. You are loved. You are known. You are seen. And I cannot wait to see you in my next class and my next Zoom. We got this. It's time for you to go manifest your miracles too.